Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Jamaica News in Review. Murder suspect among 6 arrested in Manchester. Police are reporting that 6 men, including a murder suspect, were arrested in separate early morning operations in northeast Manchester on Saturday. A police source told reporters that about 3:05 a.m., 5 men were arrested after a roadblock was mounted on the Devon Main Road, where a Toyota Probox motorcar was intercepted. 6 men were aboard the car. 1 eluded the police, but the other 5 were held and found with the housebreaking implements including a crowbar, cash, cigarette, liquor, and parts from poker boxes. Further investigation led the police to an area where 2 poker boxes were recovered, said the source. Police suspect that the men were involved in burglaries targeting bars and homes in Manchester. The men are said to be from Leeds in St. Elizabeth, Georges Valley, Greenville, and Colleyville in Manchester. In a second operation hours later in Shudley, a suspect was arrested in relation to the April 10 murder of Anthony Williams, 51, a farmer and resident of Shudley housing scheme. A police report said about 11:30 p.m., Williams was walking home in the scheme when he was pounced on by gunmen who opened fire, hitting him. Gunmen killed patrons at karaoke in Clarendon. Patrons at a karaoke in Denby, Clarendon, had to scamper to cover Friday night after gunmen opened fire at the event. At the end of the shooting, 1 man was shot and killed. The dead man has been identified as 30-year-old Regilla Edwards from the community. It was reported that around 11:30 p.m., Edwards and several other patrons were at a karaoke, which was being held on Douglas Drive in Racetrack, Denby. It reported that he was pounced upon by men armed with handguns who opened fire, hitting him several times in the head and upper body, killing him on the spot. The police were called and found Edward lying face down along a dirt road in a pool of blood with multiple gunshot wounds. The scene was processed and 7.9mm spent casing found. The body was taken to the Mapen Hospital, where it was pronounced dead and later transferred to the morgue. No motive has been established for the attack. Man gunned down in Crossroads. A man was shot dead on Retirement Crescent in Crossroads, St. Andrew on Saturday morning, police have confirmed. The man has only been identified as GC from Retirement Crescent, Kingston 5. Information reaching reporters are that the residents heard explosions around 4:55 a.m., stumbled on the body of the now deceased about 5:40 a.m. and called the police. On arrival of the police, the body of GC was seen lying face down with gunshot wounds. He was clad only in a brown plaid underpants. More than 10 spent casing were found at the scene. Mentally challenged man stabbed to death in Portland. A man who is said to be of unsound mind became Portland's 4th murder victim for the year when he was stabbed and killed on Saturday morning along West Street in Port Antonio, Portland. The deceased has been identified as Lee Donald of a Long Bay address in East Portland. Investigators said Donald was stabbed sometime before 6 a.m. on the corridor of a clothing store on West Street. He was found lying on his back with what appeared to be stab wounds. During last month's opening of the male ward at the Portland Infirmary, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie highlighted that homelessness is one of the main issues currently being faced in the parish. McKenzie added that the money to build a facility for the homeless is in the budget of the local government ministry, but he is waiting on the mayor of Port Antonio to identify the land on which to build. One of the challenges that Portland faces right now is the question of homeless population. The survey shows us that there is an increase. Quite recently, we have had some tragic incidents in the town of Port Antonio. Mayor, councillors, MP, there is money in the Ministry of Local Government to build a drop-in facility for the homeless population in Portland, but we are waiting on you to identify the land for us to start construction. We have the money in the ministry, he assured. We need to find the location to build the facility to prevent any further abuse on the homeless population in the parish of Portland. This is something that we are very passionate about because in almost all parishes, the government is moving to provide facilities for the homeless population. Portland Mayor, get up, walk go look the land in Portland that can be used to build a facility for the homeless population, he charged. I want to appeal to the private sector in Portland to come on board as we have an obligation to care for those people and we should leave no stone unturned in providing for these people, McKenzie stated. Construction worker gunned down in St. James. Detectives from the St. James Police Division or probing the circumstances surrounding the shooting death of a construction worker in the parish on Thursday afternoon. The deceased has been identified as Valerie Scott of an Anchovy St. James address. Reports are that about 5:30 p.m., Scott was pounced upon and shot by unknown assailants as he rode his bicycle on the Anchovy Main Road. The police were called to the scene, and upon their arrival, the construction worker was seen lying on the ground, suffering from gunshot wounds. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Hardware operator gunned down in St. Catherine. The community of Christian St. Catherine has been plunged into mourning following the murder of a businessman who operated a hardware in the area on Wednesday afternoon. He is Simon George Ellis, 53, of Seaview Crescent, Old Harbour Gaze in St. Catherine. Ellis was reportedly at his establishment at about 4:20 p.m. when a motorcycle stopped and a man approached him. The man pointed a gun at Ellis and fired shots, hitting him repeatedly. The gunman then returned to the motorcycle and escaped. The Spanish Town police have launched an investigation into the matter. No motive had yet been established for the murder. Human skeleton remains found in bushes in Clarendon. The police in Crofts Hill, Clarendon, are seeking to ascertain the identity of human skeleton remains found in Wexford district. The discovery was made on Monday afternoon in the Bullhead Mountain Forest Reservoir by a forest technician who was carrying out duties. The police were called. Investigators processed the scene and the remains were moved to the morgue. It is believed that the death occurred several years ago. Mobe man accused of shooting cop remanded in custody. Kirky Larson, the St. James man accused of shooting and injuring a policeman during a gun battle with the lawman in February, will know if his case will be transferred to the St. James Circuit Court when he returns to the St. James Parish Court on May 25th. Larson, a 21-year-old laborer, is charged with wounding with intent, possession of a prohibited weapon, and 2 counts of shooting with intent. He was ordered remanded in the custody by St. James Parish Judge Sasha Marie Ashley following his appearance in court. During the court briefing, Larson told the court that he is being represented by attorney at law Michael Hemming, who is currently overseas. Mr. Hemmings is my lawyer, and I went to the gun court and I got remanded there. I told him that I would come to court here, said Larson, referring to his previous appearance in the Western Regional Gun Court on March 10. Your gun court case is for May 25th, so we will set this matter for that date. You are remanded until then, the judge told Larson. According to reports on February 18, at about 9:50 p.m., a police team was on patrol duty along Railway Lane in Montego Bay when they saw Larson walking along the roadway. His actions aroused their suspicion, and when they approached him, Larson opened gunfire at the officers. A shootout ensued, and during the gun battle, a member of the police team was shot and injured. The wounded cop was taken to the Connor Regional Hospital for treatment. It was further reported that Larson later turned up at the same hospital with a gunshot wound and was placed on the police guard. Following a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney, Larson was formally charged on February 28. He is also facing a separate murder charge in relation to October 7, 2022 shooting death of auto sales representative DeVito Barnett. It was for that matter that he appeared in the gun court on March 10. Blind wheelchair-bound man dies after being hit by a vehicle. A motor vehicle accident claimed the life of a wheelchair-bound man who is also visually impaired along the Orange Bay Main Road in Portland. He has been identified as Monty Cargill, a resident of Orange Bay, who is believed to be in his late 60s. Residents said that Cargill lost his sight some years ago and was confined to a wheelchair for the better part of 25 years due to a prolonged illness. According to an eyewitness who gave his name only as Dutch, Cargill, as is customary, was sitting in his wheelchair close to the busy thoroughfare when he was hit by a white Toyota Axio motor car traveling towards Buff Bay shortly after 6:30 p.m. Cargill reportedly died on the spot. The driver of the vehicle was questioned, taken to a nearby police station in Orange Bay, and warned for prosecution. The Orange Bay police are investigating. 6 injured in bus shooting on Spanish Town Road. Investigators were at the scene of crime on Spanish Town Road in the vicinity of Seaview Gardens, where gunmen opened fire at a coaster bus on Friday afternoon. Reports reaching reporters are that sometime after 3 p.m., a man who was being chased by armed men boarded the bus in an attempt to escape his attackers. The gunmen, however, did not retrieve and continued their pursuit of the man. They opened fire on the coaster bus, which was packed with passengers on their daily commute. 6 people, including a child, were reportedly injured in the incident. Vehicle both damaged in crash at Portmore Toll Plaza. A motor vehicle accident on the Portmore Toll Plaza in St. Catherine on Friday afternoon damaged a car and a toll booth. There were no reports of any serious injuries. Information reaching the reporter is that a motor car heading to the plaza crashed into the back of another that was already in the toll booth. The police said about 1:20 p.m., a Honda Fit with a male and female aboard was inside the toll plaza, paying when a Toyota Axio ran into the rear of the Fit. The vehicle also damaged the toll booth. Police said a man and a woman were also in the Axio. The toll booth operator was shaken but not injured, lawmen said. Videos and pictures of the incident have been posted on social media. In one of the videos, one car is seen slamming in the back of another, partially destroying the collection booth. The man whose car was hit is seen getting out of the vehicle and walking away.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and